Hi kids, been a while, hasn't it? Coffee good. Got a bit of a headache. Okay, I'll try and edit all the slurps out, all right? So, like the shirt. Anyway, this video is just to kind of catch up on where I'm at with everything I do. If you don't know me, and there are a few people who have subscribed to this channel, and I apologize for not putting out regular content like I used to. It's just that this channel is not monetized. I don't make any money from it. And, you know, it's nice having followers, don't get me wrong. But if there's no kind of reason for doing it other than I think I'll make a video today, it's very easy to drop off and do other stuff, especially when you're trying to earn a living and keep the lights on in this place. And that's kind of what I want to talk about anyway. But like I said, if you do know me, I do quite a lot of stuff. At the core of it, at the very basis of it, I'm an artist. I draw, I paint, I make things with my hands, etc. That splits off into all kinds of creative things. I've written novels. I've had 3 novels published. I've got a 4th on the way. I've got a children's book that I did, goodness me, 2020 now, back in lockdown. And again, another on the way, hopefully. I made a short film recently called Mummified, which is a scaled down version of a feature film I started making last year called Bloody Students, which is not completely dead, but I had to stop. That's what the sarcophagus is for. I had to stop because there was not enough people helping out. There's not enough money, you know, to pay said people and everything else. It was just proving to be very difficult. But before that, we did a feature film called Off-World, now entitled Off-World Alien Planet. And that's globally available now via Amazon and iTunes and all these other things. Again, not the best film in the world. We made every mistake going. We learned quite a lot from it. And I'm just amazed that we actually, you know, was just a whim of an idea turned into a feature film that got worldwide distribution. Are we getting any money from it? No. No, it'd be a long time before we get any money from it, if at all. That's how it works. Anyway, time for a sip. So I've done books, I've done movies. Before movies, I did a very short stint in the music industry back in the mid-90s. I was in a band, I was in a rap group. People did call us a boy band, but we're just a rap group basically, you know. We weren't exactly Take That, we were closer to Public Enemy than Take That. And we had 2 records in the lower echelons of the charts, number 93 and 64. And that was fun while it lasted. Was there any money in it? No. The record deal we signed had a big figure attached to it, and we didn't get to see any of it because it all spent and it all paid for touring and making records and videos and everything else. We didn't. The most I ever saw for my 2 years in the record industry was a check for 100 quid. Oh dear. Still, you live and learn. Or in my case, you live and you don't learn. But that's all to say that I have come to this juncture in my life. Yes, midlife crisis. I'm in my mid-50s. That I'm always going to be having ideas for creative stuff. I've acted. I've written poetry. I've, like I say, books, films, art, sculptures, props, costuming, cosplay, you name it. And I am never going to be able to stop creating stuff, or at least inventing stuff. On my computer back there, I've got a folder that goes all the way back to 1987, and in one case, 1981 or 82, of film TV and story ideas. Obviously, the majority of those, we're looking at about 56 different ideas there. The majority of those you will never have heard of, and a lot of them aren't very good. But I never throw anything away, because you can retool things, and you can just go, I see what I was doing with that, and make something of it. Who knows? If it wasn't for the short Super 8 film that me and my friends made in 1981 or 82, running around in a field pretending we were spacemen, there probably wouldn't be Off-World, which is a film about people running around in a field pretending they're spacemen. See where this goes? Anyway, I'm never going to stop making stuff. Just last week, I put a post up on Facebook going, oh, wouldn't it be nice to do a Doctor Who fan film? That'd be fun. Because there are other people doing it. And the problem with Doctor Who fan films, or any fan films, in fact, you can't monetize them. It's going to cost you a fortune to make, but you can't make any money back because it's not your IP. And that's not unfortunately, but that is just a fact. You can't profit from someone else's IP, which I understand. But most people make fan films just for the fun of it, for the joy of making something like that. And everyone said to me, yeah, do a Doctor Who fan film. But with bloody students, I found that with all the best will in the world, people aren't willing to take your word for it that you're going to make a really amazing, fun, exciting thing, and help chip in for you to make that thing real, which is fine. Things have changed since we did a Kickstarter for Off-World. The Kickstarter of Off-World made about 500% its target. Basically, our target was $2,000, and we ended up getting just over 10 because people wanted to see a sci-fi film. And I've watched other people's Kickstarters, and I've actually chipped into quite a lot of Kickstarters in my time. And movie Kickstarters, no matter how good or how nicely presented they are or how good the idea is, they're not making the figures they used to. Anyway, a lot of the ideas and the stuff I've made has been with help of friends, people who help and understand and are willing to give me enough time and support to make the film. If it wasn't for my old mate Bishy back in 1981, we wouldn't have made the sci-fi movie running around in a field at 11, 12 years old. He shelled out and bought the Super 8 Cine camera. If it wasn't for Danny, who my co-producer and lead actress in Off-World, the film would never have got finished. It probably wouldn't even got made. There were other people involved, sure. Adam Neal, for example, who was an associate producer on Off-World. People who decided to lump in and say, right, let's make this film. And we helped each other, and they helped me to get this thing finished. So I'm very grateful for that. My ex-college mates, Andy and Dave, we formed a small computer animation company back in the day after we finished college, which ran for a couple of years. We did a couple of small projects. But if it wasn't for them being basically the guys who did all the computer animation, I was just doing storyboarding, voices, designs, that kind of thing. Without them, we wouldn't have had a company that did stuff. What else we got? Books. If it wasn't for Sean and Justin at Candy Jar, I wouldn't have had 3 published novels, a 4th on the way, and a children's book, and all these other things, and my day job, which is illustrating books for people. Always up for illustration. And so, although I'm keeping myself ridiculously busy, I can't stop my head from bubbling up with these ideas. Like the Doctor Who fan film, for example. Everyone's like, yeah, do that. And I'm like, it's time and money. Everything comes down to time and money. So I'm just basically wondering, I'm putting it out there, is it like, is it feasible, or is it just completely stupid of me to consider setting up a Patreon or a GoFundMe, something like that? Something that, much like a universal basic income, which I'm not going to go into now, but it's an idea where basically people get regular small amounts of money to keep them away from, poverty or whatever. But it also buys you time to do more of what you want to do and what people want you to do. I'm wondering, this might never happen, by the way. I'm just putting it out there. If I set up a Patreon, because I know a couple of friends who are artists, etc., have Patreons and they're doing really well. If I set up a Patreon for myself, it may buy me more time to do the creative stuff that I want, that I'm more passionate about, because I like doing my creative stuff, which is my day job. But if it's your day job, it's never going to be as much fun as doing the stuff you want to do. But you can't do all the stuff you want to do because there isn't enough hours in the day and there isn't enough money. And there's no money in making stuff that you want to do for fun. So the way the Patreons work, as far as I understand it, is you set it up, people sign up for even as little as £1 a month or whatever, $1 a month. And if enough people join in, anything you make, etc., as part of that Patreon, you share with the people who have helped support you. GoFundMe is very similar. So I'm wondering if I should set up something like that. It may be that a lot of people will comment and say, nah, don't bother. There will be comments saying, you're having a laugh, mate. And there will be comments saying, yeah, go for it. And out of all of those comments, only a hundredth of those people will probably consider putting some money into a Patreon if I set one up. So like I say, it's still a little bit, who knows? But would it work? Who knows? If I had a Patreon set up or a GoFundMe or something like that, I would be finishing off my 4th novel a lot quicker. I would be doing the sequel to my children's book, Monsters Next Door, which came out in 2020. I'd be doing the sequel to that, which is half written. I've got quite an epic children's fairy tale book, which is kind of mostly written, but there's no illustrations on it yet, so that would take a lot of time to finish up. I've got props I want to make, multiple copies of props, such as example the Blake 7 Federation Trooper blasters. I could make all those and then offer them out, a lot cheaper kind of thing. Prop runs, basically costume bits. I've got a poetry book that I want to put out, which is a comedy poetry book, believe it or not. People have asked me about, is there any more coming up with the Kangazang trilogy, which is my first trilogy of books, novels? There may be. But again, all these ideas are kind of pie in the sky at the moment. I've even done a lot of work on an idea that started life, that came to me in 2007. And it's basically a feature-length family adventure animated feature film, which is probably the best thing I've written. And let's go back to Offworld. After Offworld, you may remember that Danny and I started making serious plans for a new feature film called Wow, Way Out West. And that's a kind of comedy, time travel, Bill and Ted meets Doctor Who meets Big Trouble in Little China type thing. And I think that's really got potential to be huge. Danny has the ownership of that property now, and she says that she's making steps towards making the film, and I hope it does get made, because I think it's got a lot of potential to be a really fun and sort of exciting comedy time travel thing. I really hope that works. And again, the ideas come bubbling up either by myself or with, in the case of Way Out West, with Danny, and with everything I do. And I can't stop creating ideas. They've got to go somewhere, right? Even if they end up in the folder of many ideas that haven't been made before, they're going to keep popping up into folders. I can't stop until such time as I can't think them up anymore. And let's face it, I'm not a spring chicken, so that day may come. But I'd like to try and make more stuff, and I'd like to find a way of making more stuff and doing more things. And obviously, if I had a Patreon that was bringing in monthly amount of money where I could start doing more creative stuff, I could speak to and collaborate with the people who are contributing and get guidance about, am I going the right way with it? Should we put this in it? Should we put that in it? Any suggestions? That kind of thing. So that's it. That's basically it. I was actually going to start this video off talking about the new season of Doctor Who that just started. I've realised that I can't speak too much about films or TV at the moment, especially the big franchises, Marvel, Star Wars, Doctor Who, because people are easily offended. We live in a world where everything has to be a million out of 10 or, absolute hate. And I'm kind of float in the middle. So I'm not even going to go there. But what I will say, superheroes, Star Wars and Doctor Who have been the three driving forces in my life with everything I do. If it wasn't for Star Wars, I wouldn't have done Offworld. If it wasn't for Hitchhikers, I wouldn't have done Kangazang. And if it wasn't for Tim Burton, I wouldn't have done Monsters Next Door. And if it wasn't for John Carpenter films and weird science, I wouldn't have thought up Way Out West. And if it wasn't for Hammer films and Shaun of the Dead and Edgar Wright movies, I wouldn't have done Bloody Students or Mummified. And it's a shame that we haven't got any further with Bloody Students or Way Out West. But like I say, Danny owns Way Out West. It's not really my ownership anymore, so I can't go ahead with that. But there's still Bloody Students, and there's still other ideas. There's still films. There's my animated feature. There's my fairy tale book, epic, and all these other things. So I'm just going to leave it there. I've talked for far too long, as usual. Despite editing it down, it's still going to be over 15 minutes. Quick sip of coffee. Yeah, so I've said all I need to say. I would appreciate some comments. Again, comments are always approved by me before they get printed. So if you want to type some hate, go for it, but it'll never show up because it's my channel. I'm not here for praise, but at the same time, I'm not here for it to be a punching bag. Those days are gone, kids. So anyway, thanks for listening. If you've got this far, I know most people tune out, or if you've been listening at 1.5 speed, that's probably a better way to watch my videos. And should I do a Patreon? Should I try it at least? Or a GoFundMe, that kind of thing. Anyway, let me know. I'll speak to you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye then.